Are you trying to make improvements to your life, and live the life that you want, but you're overwhelmed, with all the work and the steps that it's going to take? Do your goals overwhelm you, to the point where you get stuck and don't take any action? Because overwhelm can be a serious foe, especially when you're trying to achieve goals and make improvements. Overwhelm can be tough. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about one simple and powerful way to overcome the overwhelm. Welcome to Enjoy Life. If you need a little push to pursue your goals or some encouragement to take ownership of the areas of life you can control, then you're in the right place. I'm Nick Mazey, and I'll be your host, and I'll be your guide for this podcast. I'll be sharing with you all the things that I've learned through my journey through overcoming struggles in my own life, earning a master's degree in psychology, and trying to be the best dad of two twin amazing girls that I can be. I'm going to share with you all the things that I've learned that will help you to choose your mindset, goals, and actions so that you can guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it. I am glad that you're here, and let's get started. Hello, and welcome to episode 148 of Enjoy Life. I am glad that you're here. I'm thrilled that you're here. Because you know what, you're taking time to spend with me so that you can guide your life to go where you want to go, so you can go conquer your goals, and go after them. And just a simple fact that you're taking time to spend with me in this podcast, it just means the world to me. I'm excited that you're here, and I'm truly appreciative for you joining in. Honestly, when I get to see the downloads, it just thrills me that as you're taking advantage of this material to be intentional with your life. Right? And I just love it. I just love it. Glad that you're here. Right. So before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something that I created, and I created it for you. I talked about at the very beginning, how goals can be overwhelming, and if you're trying to make improvements, sometimes it's difficult to get going, and sometimes things hold you back. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a simple resource to help you to figure out a quick win. Because, for crying out loud, a lot of us, if we need quick wins sometimes. And so that's why I created a short quiz that will help you to determine a goal killer solution that fits you. Goal killers are just things that stand in the way of achieving goals. There's a lot of them out there, and they impact most of us. Knowing how to conquer them, though, is a key thing. And so you can answer a few very simple questions, and I have a short video for you based on your answers of a suggestion that might help you get that quick win that will help get you moving forward so that you can make some progress toward the life that you want and enjoy your life a little bit more. The quiz is free. You just have to go to nickmazey.com/GKSQ. That's Goal Killer Solution Quiz. So nickmazey.com/GKSQ. And that'll take you right there. You can answer. It's just a few questions. And then I got a video just for you based on one specific thing that you can do to make a little bit of progress towards your goals, get some momentum, and hopefully, get back on track with guiding your life to go where you want it to go. Take advantage of the quiz. It only takes a few quick seconds. Once again, that's nickmazey.com/GKSQ. All right. So on to today's episode. Today we're talking about those goals that can be overwhelming, because big goals are overwhelming sometimes. That's just a simple fact of it is that when you have a big goal, when you have something you want to accomplish or achieve, there's a lot of stuff that goes into making it happen. And almost by definition, if you have a big goal, then it's a lot different from where you're at right now, because you're striving to achieve that big goal. They take a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of steps to make them happen, to achieve them. But let me go before we dive into too much more, let me just stop by saying, they're worth the work. They're worth the effort, and they're worth the time, because those big goals, if you set a big goal for your life, it's powerful, it's meaningful, it resonates with who you are, then that's important. This is your life, and it's up to you to guide it where you want to go. And if you have that goal that speaks to you, don't let the overwhelm stop you. I know it sounds like simple and obvious advice, but if that goal is really important, then we got to find ways to make it happen. You can find ways to reduce that overwhelm or to conquer that overwhelm. You can find ways to make the steps a little bit easier to take. You can find ways to achieve that goal. You can. And then they're worth it. They're worth the work. They're worth the effort. And knowing that your goals are important and that they're worth it is crucial. It's so important. It doesn't make it, it doesn't always really make it a lot easier, but in some ways it does. Like if you know that your goal is super important to you, then you got to do the work. Then you got to do the work to achieve them. And that, just knowing that you have to do it, sometimes makes it easier just to get up and do it. The more you think about having to do the work, the more you think about the steps, the bigger deal they become. And it just grows in your mind, and it becomes this bigger and bigger thing. And just knowing that, hey, this goal is super important to me, I'm going to do it. Just having that solid confidence that you got to do it. You got to do this for you in your life. It can help you, but I also want to share with you another thing. One small, simple, powerful thing that can make it a little bit easier to move forward even when you're overwhelmed. It can help reduce that overwhelm a little bit, so it can help you to take that action and make some progress. You don't want to make your goals any smaller. Now, having that big goal, it is awesome. It is amazing. Set those big goals for your life. But don't aim lower. Just make that next step smaller. Don't make the goal smaller. Just make that next step a little bit smaller. So you're worth your best life. You are worth having that big goal because you can do amazing things. Never reduce that goal to fit where you're at right now. If you have goals and you don't want to stay where you're at right now, you want to go work toward that goal. Don't change that end goal. Instead, just adjust how you're going to get there. Just make that next step a little bit smaller. So you can't do everything all at once. You can't accomplish massive, huge goals all in one day. No, they're big goals. You can't do it all at once. You can't do it all in one day. But you can take that next very, very small step. And if that next step is just truly overwhelming, then make that next step a little bit smaller. It's always a process. It's a journey. You don't just achieve that big goal. You're working toward it. And as long as you can make a little bit of progress, then making a little bit of progress is a huge thing. It doesn't matter necessarily how fast you go. As long as you're going in the right direction and you're taking steps, then you're getting closer. You're getting momentum. You're making progress. And what's a really cool thing is once you get into the habit of taking that small step, well, you get a little bit more comfortable with that small step. And then eventually you'll be able to take a slightly larger step and it won't be overwhelming. That overwhelm that you might be experiencing right now with that next step towards your goal, see, it's not going to be as much if you make that next step a little bit smaller and then you just keep taking those really tiny little steps. It's like nudging yourself toward your goal, because you can nudge your way through that overwhelm. When that overwhelm's big, just make that next step a little smaller. Just take it. Just take it. No matter what it is, you got to take that next step. You can make it a tiny step, but you just got to take that next step. That way you're moving forward. That way you get used to making progress and used to taking steps and taking action. And that way you're not stuck anymore. That's what some of the power is that then you get into the habit of moving forward. And then it doesn't matter what that next step is. You're just going to keep taking it. You're going to keep taking it. Because see, habits are powerful. They can either help you achieve your goal or they can stand in your way. Making sure that you're developing that habit of moving forward, taking a small step, even if it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little step, whatever you're comfortable with, take it, develop that habit, and then before you know it, you're just sailing along, making progress towards your goals. Have that big goal. Have that big goal that is oh so important for you in your life. That one that is just crucial. It resonates with who you are, and your values. And acknowledge that you can't do it all in one leap. That's okay. That one leap, that massive giant step, of course that's overwhelming. Stop looking at that giant step. You're not going to take a massive leap. No, you can't do it all at once. Instead, look at that next tiny step, that next tiny thing that you can do to make progress towards your goals. You can make that little tiny step. You can make it just a nudge. Just nudge yourself to go in the right direction. It's not a big shove. It's just a slight nudge to go in the direction of your goal. And you can do that. You can make it so it's so small you barely even feel it. A major point behind this tiny step or the power of the little nudge is that it's easy to repeat. Minuscule changes, they take little effort. They do. So once you do them, then it's even easier to do them again. And then you can do them again. And then before you know it, you've developed that habit. Habits just make things easy to stick to. Habits make things easier. When you develop that positive habit, then it just makes making progress easier. Now, you don't have to worry about creating all kinds of new habits right now. But for now, just stick to that tiny little nudge. If you're overwhelmed by those next steps coming up, make it a tiny little nudge towards your goal. You're just going to move just a little bit. If you want to improve your health, think about it like this. If you want to improve your health, don't start by exercising 2 hours a day for 5 days a week. Unless you're, already in a habit of that, it's not going to last long. Before any time, you'd be ready to quit altogether. So this is where the power of the, tiny nudge can come into the rescue. Make that slightest change toward exercise and health. Like finding healthy breakfast foods that taste good, or bringing a water bottle and swapping out soda for water, or drink some like lemon water. Going for a couple minute walk after work every single day, or a couple days a week. Those tiny little steps, they're easy. They don't seem like a big deal. So it's easy for you to do them. And then before you know it, it's easy for you to repeat them, and you get comfortable with them, and then they become a habit. That's where the power is, because that's when you've made a massive change. When you've taken a small positive step and you've turned it into a habit, that ends up being the massive changes in your life. Don't try to do it all at once, because that is definitely overwhelming. We make the smallest, easiest shift to nudge yourself slightly toward the life that you want. Make it easy on yourself, and you'll do it. Make it easy, and then you'll do it. The smallest positive habit can end up carrying you a great distance. It pays off. So what's the tiny shift that you can make? The tiny step, the little nudge. What's the little nudge that you can put, how you can get yourself to go towards your goal? The smallest thing. Okay, what is that? Now do it. Because one small step at a time, you can achieve your goals and live the life that you want. And enjoy it too. One small step at a time. All right, that's what I have for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Do take that next small, tiny step towards your goal. If you are finding that some things are holding you back from achieving your goals and making the progress that you want, check out that short quiz that I made. The Goal Killer Solution Quiz. It doesn't even dive into all the goal killers out there. It doesn't need to, because if you need that quick win, if you need that quick solution, then this is for you. So just go to nickmazy.com/GKSQ for the Goal Killer Solution Quiz. nickmazy.com/GKSQ. If you like this podcast, find some value in it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more, and share it. Share it so somebody else can get some value out of it. There's like 1 million podcasts out there these days, and for anyone to get any value out of this podcast, you guys have to share it. And I know you do, because I see the numbers, and I really appreciate that. Well, thank you for listening. Take care, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week.